Hey, are you tired of your job? Well, boy, do I have some options for you. Everybody has to do something to make a living. Some jobs are better than others, of course, but then there are some jobs that aren't necessarily good or bad, but just kind of fall into a really gray area of weirdness. Seriously, you might have a hard time believing that the following jobs exist, but I assure you, they do. Here are the 10 weirdest jobs on Earth. Number 10 is underwater pizza delivery. If you're a scuba diver looking for a job, you're probably thinking along the lines of teaching scuba diving or even working with tourist groups. But there's one scuba diving job that you're not gonna believe. At Jules Lodge in Key Largo, Florida, guests can call out for some pizza. However, it can be pretty difficult to deliver considering that the hotel is underwater. That's where the underwater pizza delivery guy comes in. His name is Rob Doyle, and after getting into some scuba gear and sealing the ordered pizza into a waterproof case, he then deep dives underwater. After entering up through an airlock, he emerges, unlocks the case, and delivers the pizza unharmed, and most importantly, dry. Unless it's Pizza Hut pizza, in which case you're gonna be bathing in grease. The guests can then eat the pizza while watching marine life float by through a window. Yo, they better tip this guy real good. Number 9 is Odor Tester. Most people are repelled by bad smells. Right here. When presented with a terrible odor, most of us run the other way. Hey, nice to meet you. Oh god, did you rub yourself down with onions? However, an odor tester's job is to do the exact opposite and get their noses up nice and close to the source, taking a deep breath. Smell testers are employed in various industries, from deodorant companies who require their testers to smell sweaty armpits to see how effective a deodorant is, to breath mint companies needing to know how bad a person's breath smells after eating garlic. Even nail polish companies have to hire odor testers to inhale their product to see if the fumes cause any side effects. Yes, I inhale nail polish all day. Nothing's wrong with it. Yeah, nothing wrong with it. In all seriousness, that last one is a dangerous job, but the money's good, and you get all the free nail polish you could ever ask for. Even the sparkly ones, which I find delightful. Number 8 is the apologizer. The apologizer kind of sounds like a Denzel Washington movie gone bad, but it's actually a real job. Some people find it almost impossible to say sorry. This can happen for a variety of reasons, including pride or maybe just the other person won't give them the time of day to say it. That's where the apologizers come in. As you might have guessed, this service is in Japan, where you can actually hire someone to perform the apology for you. This saves you time and face while the other person gets the apology. However, things can get a little dark when apologizers are hired to break up with a person who doesn't have the guts to do it. And their fee varies. It is not cheap. It can be $250 for a face-to-face apology and about $100 for a quick email or phone apology, which I don't understand because you could do that yourself. Wait a minute, that's lucrative. I think I should change my profession. After all, I'm Canadian. I'd be a millionaire by now. Sorry, eh? Number 7 is the Human Scarecrow. If you're a college or university student right now, you might find it difficult to get into your chosen profession right away. So while you wait, why not try your hand at something totally bizarre? That's what a graduate from Bangor University in the UK did in 2012. Going by the name Mr. Fox, he found employment as a human scarecrow. Now luckily, this didn't mean that he had to tie himself to a wooden cross and pull weird faces at birds trying to eat the field crops. Ah, why did I sign up for this? How do I go pee? Instead, he wears a bright orange coat and hat. Much better. Whenever the birds hover nearby, he'd start playing either a ukulele or an accordion 8 hours a day. This was enough to frighten any nearby animal, keeping his employer's fields free of pesky critters. Number 6 is a train pusher. A train pusher is a bizarre but necessary job. Though this job is typically characterized as being a Japanese and Chinese phenomenon, train pushers were actually quite common in the US up to the 1950s. The job involves pushing commuters into a train or subway car as far as possible to allow other passengers to join them. Yeah, thanks for paying your ticket. Just suck in your fat, get to the back. Train pushers are occasionally still seen in Japan during rush hour, squeezing every person onto the train until the doors close. This isn't the case with every train, and in fact, there aren't many train pushers left in Japan. But in China, however, the Beijing subway network has been using train pushers extensively due to overcrowding. Yeah, that sounds like a nightmare to me, being squeezed onto a train with someone this close away breathing into my face. How you enjoying your ride? Number 5 is the dog food tester. You're probably not surprised to hear that there's such a thing as a dog food tester. However, you might be when you realize those testers are not of the canine variety. That's right, human beings are employed to eat dog food. This is of course to test the quality of the product. Testers are asked to get into the canine frame of mind and try and anticipate which flavors a dog will enjoy. This sounds so nasty and gross, no thanks. The more a dog likes its food, the more likely it's said that the dog's owner is going to keep buying that brand. The dog food tester can also identify when things have gone wrong, such as meat being off, or an ingredient being difficult to stomach. Invariably, dog food testers are also employed to eat cat food and other pet foods. Apparently, the job is paid well enough that it's enjoyable, though I'd ask them to pop in a mint once in a while from time to time. Number 4 is the car guard. If you love your car and want to take extra special precautions to ensure that no one steals or vandalizes it, then you might want to hire a car guard. They're usually self-employed, but sometimes they work for an agency or company. They do the work of a car valet and will find a safe place to park for a customer. However, they will also guard the car while it's parked. In countries where automobile theft is especially high, a car guard can come in pretty handy. And it's an easy job. That is, unless an armed car thief tries to take the car, in which case you may be forced to use lethal force to protect the customer's vehicle with your life. On the plus side, you get to sit around a lot, so that's good, right? Number 3 is the professional sleeper. Now this is a job I can get behind. Who doesn't love to have some sleep? In places like Finland, some hotels have an unusual way of making sure that their rooms are up to standard. They hire a professional sleeper to spend one night in each room. When they're vacant, of course, otherwise that would be weird. The sleeper then rates each bed and will identify which rooms are uncomfortable. Professional sleepers can also find work with sleep researchers. All they need to do is literally just go to sleep while researchers observe their brainwaves. Even NASA is in on this, hiring professional sleepers to stay in bed for days at a time to see what the long-term effects would be on astronauts traveling to Mars. I just realized that sounds like astronauts are traveling to Mars on their beds. I meant beds inside the spaceship, in case you didn't catch that, just clearing that up. Okay, moving on. Number 2 is a vomit cleaner. Have you ever watched those people on roller coasters throwing up everywhere? No, me neither. Really though, have you ever wondered where the vomit goes? Besides all over the people on the ride, I mean, this is why I don't ride roller coasters. That stuff doesn't just clean itself up, somebody has to do it. That's the job description of a vomit cleaner. Yum yum! Some amusement park owners specifically hire vomit cleaners to do this thankless job. This involves not just cleaning the rides, but identifying where vomit lands from above. Sometimes it's on the walkway or on a rail, but other times it's on the roof. The vomit cleaner must get to these places to keep each park from smelling foul. So the next time you throw up in an amusement park, don't feel bad. You're actually keeping someone in a job and contributing to the employment market. It's good for your country. Noble person. And number 1 is a professional mourner. Funerals are, of course, tragic events and emotionally draining. Well, unless you're being paid to pretend to be sad, then it's a hoot. Professional mourners were all the rage thousands of years ago, but in some Asian countries, the practice is still carried out. In China, for example, professional mourners are trained to sing the equivalent of hymns, and even in some cases, bring a band with them. Okay, everyone, get the drums and guitars ready. We're right over Grandma. Here we go. And a 1 and a 2. In the United Kingdom, there are businesses which also rent out professional mourners to families. This is usually to increase numbers at a funeral to make the ceremony larger than it would have been. In some cases, it's because many of the deceased's friends or relatives are no longer alive, or they just weren't a very loved person. That's sad. But for a small amount of money, you can send them off in style, even if they were a serial killer. What a lovely sentiment. So there you go, the 10 weirdest jobs on Earth. If you guys want a job and you can't find one, maybe apply for these. I'm not saying you'll get it, but if you do, at least you'll make some money. But you'll be spending it on therapy bills, so maybe it's not worth it.
Oh, this is gonna be such an ordeal, but it's not. It's real. I'm here. This is splendid.
No, it's amazing. Well, I'm glad you're comfortable. Make sure you had a water, you know.
I got a good water. The place is actually not that cold. You said it was gonna be cold. I'm not cold.
Yeah.
I'm wearing if you're watching this, I'm wearing a tank top too.
Do you ever have that anxiety? Like, how do you fight do you find that you have anxiety day to day or just when you have big projects? Like, what's it like in Lily's head?
So before my life really started to get crazy, so I'd say like maybe 2-ish years ago, I never had anxiety. Honestly, I was always able to just wrap my head around things and be like, all